Yeah. What's crazy is that, like.
That's why, like, most of the basketball, I throw it instead of throwing.
That, set.
Most pitchers.
¿Qué tu guante? ¿Dónde? Es mío, ¿no?
Ah, tuyo, Juan.
How do you like those?
Tengo ese, pero en gris.
The biggest thing that I just kind of look for with those is a lot of guys, they'll like start their rhythm, and then when they stick their drive, they'll just stop. You know, and you're doing a really good job of it. Yeah. Get there, ball. Yeah. Side.
Just gotta make sure I'm pointing my hand at you.
Yeah, when you get to a distance like that, though, get more directional. Because what your body's gonna think is it's gonna think it's late, so then it's gonna just pull off. So like, if you want to do some hand work, like take them out of the hands and shuffle to me. What up? Yeah, I mean this is usually where I am, so it doesn't get hit, right?
Because you can drop back and then anything over your head misses.
Right.
I gotta stop talking.
We're getting like right in there.
That's a viral clip on TikTok. Hey, that was good though. It popped out.
I'm not trying to blow you out.
Well, you gonna throw book into that or what?
What are we doing?
At that distance, you'll learn like the tempo's good. There needs to be a sense of the trunk getting a little bit low. So that's where you kind of like start throwing it up in the air without like having to consciously think about back while trying to go forward.
Una puerta vieja. Puede ser muy suave. Choquea.
As soon as you like got the right tempo, I would say, I stopped seeing your hand back here. So your feet move, right? I know it feels maybe silly, but your feet initiate the tempo, and then your body's at a certain acceleration that the hand then says, oh, well, we just got to get right into our retraction. Yes. Yeah. You feel that same sensation you were getting last night? Where you're like kind of pushing into your load? You got that right now?
I'm at least pushing into it.
Okay. That's a TikTok clip. Yeah. That one was like, and the only thing that I will say about like the pushing into your load type thing, it's a good cue for you, but that one in particular, like you get is that fine line of like, are you pushing into it where your knee is flexion and then it like extends and it elevates a little bit, and then I think as soon as like you kind of push into that and it elevates, like now you're kind of going. Good. For me, when I was doing all this stuff, the toughest part was like my off-speed pitches, because I would move slower to like kind of feel it coming out. Cheddar cheese. Really good. Slide. I really like where that's at. Like I said, it's tough because anytime your body is like exploring a new, like a drastically new like tempo, it's almost borderline like a threat. Like, whoa, dude, like this is tricky. And it's actually impressive the fact that you can like still deviate so much from what you are so used to work at, like move tempo wise, and like still execute the throw. What's the feedback thus far?
I like it. I just gotta, like, I think the biggest thing for me is remember to keeping this here.
Yeah, because
the faster I move, I don't want to be like this.
So yeah, and that's the tricky part. Like I say, is like the body is, if it moves at such a different tempo, like it's gonna think it has to compensate with certain other like components, and that's what typically happens when we long toss. Is you get to a point where your body's like, well, shoot, we're late because we're moving faster, and then it'll just spin off and it'll have to clear the upper body. And that's why I said, like, try to throw it in the air more to start exploring the sensation of your trunk, giving yourself more time by way of just tilting or counter rotating and loading. Because like you did such a good job like going out and throwing it on a line, and then once you got to a certain distance, like the obviously distance was further, and so you know your body was starting to get to that point where like, oh well, we can't reach it there, you know, in the air, so like I'm gonna spin off. And that's when your ball kind of started like getting this type spin or whatever. And then the ones where I, you know, you were like freaking on time, you know, the ball was like forcing.
I'm gonna do some dry stuff.
Yeah, nice work though.
Thanks.
You like it?
Yeah, I do actually. I just gotta get comfortable with coming set down here.
Is that not comfortable right now?
I mean, it is. I just don't want to be like. I feel like this.
Don't think you have to either.
Slower.
Don't.
This could be slower than the leg.
Right. Don't think you have to though. You know, like you might not need the rhythm, and don't mistake more moving parts for just slower.
Right.
Because just because multiple things are moving doesn't mean that influences a slower tempo. Like they can still move at the same tempo.